seats here. Want to start immediately with an opening. Thank you so much. This Pastor Stanley. On in the daytime, permit me to introduce Children with Cancer Intervention Initiative (CCII) to us. Children with Cancer Intervention Initiative (CCII) is a non-governmental organization (NGO) whose main objective is to assist children battling with cancer, and we call them warriors in every way we can. Our assistance stretches to the warriors, their parents and guardians in form of prayers, counseling, and financial reliefs. We also conduct enlightenment programs through roadshows, seminars, workshops, concerts, etc. Children with Cancer Intervention Initiative was born out of a burden after a close son was diagnosed with cancer, resulting to frequent visits to Lagos University Teaching Hospital, LUTH, Idi-Araba, Lagos. To the glory of the Almighty God, the said son has been healed, but a lot others have bowed to the cold hand of death arising to the dreaded disease. The increase of our children battling with cancer is so alarming, and this calls for the attention of all, especially the government. In our pilot hospital, the Lagos University Teaching Hospital, LUTH, we had like 25 bright and intelligent children aged between 8 months and 14 years battling with the disease as at May 2012, out of which we lost 10 of them. Just a week before Christmas, in 2013, last year, we lost yet a dear little girl referred to LUTH from Port Harcourt Hospital. And these are the ones to acknowledge. I would say there is urgent need and priority needs in Lagos University Teaching Hospital, Idi-Araba, Lagos. The basis for this conference is to push forward or bring to the fore urgent needs in the oncology wards of the Lagos University Teaching Hospital, LUTH, where these warriors are kept for treatment. Our visits to the oncology ward of Lagos University Teaching Hospital, LUTH, revealed these very important needs by the hospital for proper care of these little warriors. The needs are as follows: installation of oxygen piping into the oncology ward. It may interest you to know that in the oncology ward, there is no oxygen. If a child is gasping for breath, gasping for oxygen, there is none there to give to the child. And you know what will happen as a result of that. Procurement of cold centrifuge. That's a machine they use to preserve blood. But because when they go through chemotherapy, they need blood. Provision of accommodation for caregivers during treatment. Most of the times, the parents and the guardians of these children sleep under the bed, on the bed floor. And some of them will have to go to work from there. Go to work and come back. So we are saying they will need accommodation where they can stay while treatment is being administered. In our quest to see that these needs are met, we sent letters to the Minister of Health and the Senate President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, respectively, in July 2013, requesting that they look into these issues. But up until now, we are still waiting for their responses. And we trust we shall have favorable responses. CCII also believes that with a little more passion for the plight of these children from our responsible and responsive government, free treatment for children with cancer is not beyond their means. CCII is looking onto the day that this will become a reality in our nation. When a child is diagnosed with this dreaded disease and treatment commences, it does not matter how much their parents have in their bank account, it goes down because it's an expensive treatment. We are hoping, we are praying, and we are expecting. We are praying that the government will do all it can to bring down mortality rates in our country, only for us to carelessly but unintentionally lose some of these wonderful children to cancer. We believe that nothing will be too much to save the lives of these great leaders of tomorrow. From the quotation available to us, it will only cost a little less than 4 million naira to pipe oxygen into the oncology ward, while the cold centrifuge costs between 12 million naira to 15 million naira only. We want to use this medium to call on the government, especially the Federal Ministry of Health, and well-meaning Nigerians, to come to the aid of these warriors. We also appeal to the government to make funds available for research into cancer as it obtains in other climes. We trust that the government will do the needful and quickly too. May our children live and not die. May they fulfill their God-given destiny. Thank you. You know, they are convenient food. You can easily pick them up and just give them to eat. So we want to play down on it. Let them have a lot of fruits and vegetables. Watch what they eat and make sure they eat healthy food. And as a matter of fact, we are about to flag off our school cancer awareness campaign. The environment must be clean. And then, your whole body is sick. I mean, psychologically, emotionally, everywhere it becomes unhealthy. Honestly, if you go to their words, you cannot come out the same. You can definitely not come out the same, I assure you that. Let me give you an example of what happened to one of them. When they go through chemotherapy, you know, chemotherapy is very, very painful. And you see your child crying helplessly and saying, "Mommy, help me." And you cannot help. Some of them, chemotherapy could shut down their kidney and you're battling the kidney. Some of the children that had cancer of the eyes, before our eyes, they are crying. Some of them can't eat, they will lose appetite. And then the pain is so much. So what they go through can't even really be explained by word of mouth. You understand what I'm saying? You just get to the point that the child says, "Mommy, help me." That's by reason of what the child is going through. So the plight is unexplainable. We can't really explain it. But on the side of the parents is also psychologically is so much on them and on the children as well who are going through this disease. That's what we say, pilot hospital. So there are other hospitals where they are, but we choose Lut now. We walk through Lut and then to other hospitals where we have these children. So that's where they are now. And don't forget, they come and take treatment and go, except when it's so bad. As a matter of fact, some of the treatment is supposed to last like 6 weeks. But some will get in there and it will last like 3 months. Because what happens is that by the time they administer the chemotherapy, something else comes up. And then they begin to battle with that. So what we're saying is, in essence, there's also a lot more that government could do in this research, because we have a lot of other countries, they have what they call World Cancer Summit in US. They have so many doctors, and a lot of them are talking about alternative to chemotherapy. I also read that the Johns Hopkins University that started chemotherapy are now going towards healthy living, healthy feeding, eat healthy, exercise, live in a clean environment, and all of that. So we want them to imbibe all of this into the chemotherapy thing. Because somebody just give it therapy, the whole body is shut down, and the child is now battling for life, and that's it.
Of ailment in the body. It is when you go for further medical examinations that people now, the medical field now, will begin to suspect. Say, is this going towards this trend? And further examinations will now say, okay, this is cancer. So it's not like malaria that you say when you have headache or you have body temperature, you can actually say this is malaria. No. Major percentage of those who are diagnosed as cancers eventually started with some very simple symptoms that you can watch out for. And that's why we are talking about even research in the area of cancer. Because from our study, we discovered that if it is detected early enough, we could have, to a very large extent, remedies that will give life back to those people. But it's unfortunate that in our country as of today, we're still in a bit of premature. I mean, our diagnosis systems is still premature. So most of the time before the thing is diagnosed, it's gotten to an extent that whatever. That's one. How does it come up? Cancer itself, it's just a particular cell in the body that just went haywire, if I can use that word. Just started growing and growing and growing in a proportion that is beyond what is expected of it. So, and most of the time when those growths occur, they become malignant, and that's when it is cancerous. Some of them are not. But when they become malignant, then they become cancerous. And what happens is that if it starts in a particular part of the body, it has a tendency of extending to other parts of the body. As it touches other cells within the body, it contaminates those cells. So it grows. Let's take an example that it starts from the stomach, touches the intestine, touches the kidney, touches like that. It goes on like that. And unfortunately, again, it could also be transmitted even through the fluid system within the body, the blood and the lymphatic systems. It could transport it. So it's something that's so endemic. It's something that is so fast growing. That's why we are saying that we need a lot more research for us to be able to detect it early enough, one, to stop the growth and treat where it is now so that other parts are not contaminated. We have a case that by the time they eventually discovered that it was cancer, 3 major organs of the body has been affected: the kidney, the liver, and the lungs. And it started from just a small area. And you have it's unfortunate that we have to mention this. I mean, we love our country, we appreciate what the government is doing. But majorly, most of the time, people get outside of this nation before they are diagnosed to the cancers. Here they treat all kinds of things. We can even mention prominent names among Nigerians. That it was when they now went outside that they discovered that it was cancer. And by that time, it was too late for them. So there are no specific symptoms. But if the body that is in charge of cancer is so codified enough, if we can pick it early enough, then it has a lot of remedies. But most of the time in our country today, it's unfortunate that by the time they are picking it up, it is too late for us.
Acquired.
Okay, now can we meet you for record purpose?
My name is Ono Onyebuchukwu
Your designation.
Ni Okorocha.
Your designation?
I'm the coordinator of CCII.
Now, early detection, can it help in any way to fight cancer?
Very, very well. That's what we're advocating for. Early detection, early treatment. And we're advocating that the government can set up cancer centers where it's easy for you to walk in. These children can be taken to those centers and diagnosed and find out what the problem is. If it's cancer, then early treatment kicks up.
Now, our lifestyle, the kind of food we eat, it's been alleged that junk food actually causes cancer. How far is this true?
Very well, because those are chemicalized food. And chemical putting toxics into your system. The toxics are what causes these cells to spread, to multiply. And once they multiply, the person will now begin to have cancer. So we are asking that parents should watch what their children eat. Please, parents need to step up. Because of work and all of that, we lose these children. You know, when we leave them on their own, they eat all manner of things. And it will interest you to also know that some parents will go all the way out to get fast food for these children because we call them convenient food, because they don't want to cook. Parents need to sit down, analyze, kind of review their time for these children and what they eat and all of that is extremely important. I tell you about one case I saw at Luth. I saw this woman, the child had cancer, and she came there and what did she buy for this child to eat? This meat pie that they buy from outside that has a lot of fats and margarine butter and all of that. Yes, they should be eating sparingly. And she bought this, and then she bought this colored drink again. They all pass through process. I don't want to give it, and I immediately had to jump into that matter. It is extremely important. It's a serious matter. We are pained that we're losing our children. You need to go to Luth and know these children. These are bright, wonderful children. The next thing you heard, that one is dead.
Can you let us into the statistics of how many of them are infected with cancer now?
In the 32 states?
Yes.
No, we wouldn't know. We don't know statistics for children.
Randomly.
Children, at least with Luth alone, like I said, in last suit, we don't have any child there. But in Luth alone, I said, from that May 2012, we had like 25, and then one that came last year who also died. So we need to, it's the responsibility of everybody.
To allow my other colleagues, what message do you have for parents, government, and everybody, Nigerians in general?
The message we have for children is to watch what they eat. Make sure you eat good food. You know, sometimes children say, I don't want to eat this, I don't want to eat that, and their parents will succumb to their not wanting to eat this and they want to eat that. That they should also know that eating healthy will keep them alive. And for the parents, they should insist and give their children nourishing food. You cannot buy to the caprices of your child who says, I don't want to eat this. Insist that child eats healthy food and make sure you provide healthy food and keep them in a healthy environment. Keep them in an environment. If germs also causes a lot of problems. Keep them in a clean environment. And for the government, we need to step up. It's a shame that we're losing these children this way. Sometimes they don't even know we're losing these children. They need to put their eyes on the ground and know that why are we losing our children through cancer when we do what we can to bring down mortality rates, and then before you know it, we're losing them through cancer. So government needs to step up. Our hospitals need to be properly equipped. We lack so much. Imagine oxygen in an oncology ward, something less than 4 million. If we as an organization have that money, we would have done it without anybody knowing. And we trust God will be able to do our bit the much we can. So, and everybody, all well-meaning Nigerians have to rise up. We should be our brother's keeper. We should not think that we are here to amass wealth and don't keep it to ourselves. No, whatever wealth you have should be for others. You can't eat. How much food can you eat before you die?
Looking at those stakeholders in this now, in terms of accept.
To accept?
Acceptance.
In terms of acceptance.
Yeah.
Everybody
Because there's this stigmatization of outcast on them. So
Yeah, that's really important, because when somebody has cancer, even the person doesn't want to talk about it, that's why we have problems. A lot of people dread to go out, and subject themselves for diagnosis and maybe even treatment. Even those that are going for treatment wants to hide it. You don't want people to know. Just like AIDS, these are just sickness. It's like malaria. Anybody can have cancer, anybody can have AIDS, anybody can have malaria. It is sickness and it is sickness, period. So the society should not look at somebody who has cancer and stigmatize that person as if he had something outside of this world. It's just sickness, and for no cause. It's not that person wanted to have cancer. It's sickness that came as a result of whatever cause.
Thank you. It's nice talking with you.
My name is Akin Opayinka.
Okay.
Opayinka.
Now, Children with Cancer Intervention Initiative. Want to let us into what the NGO is doing?
Well, basically, it's an enlightenment program that we are after. Why? Because we discovered the beginning of what the experience we had when one of our sons was in the hospital and we had to go there for visitations and all the rest of them. We discovered that a lot of people does not even know that this particular ailment, this particular disease can attack children. We did some pilot research in 100 people in about 10 places, and we discovered that 90 out of every 100 that we interviewed were skeptical. Some people even say, "Why are you lying? I mean, what's that to do with children? What's cancer to do with children?" And so we discovered that because people do not know, and that's where the devil takes his ignorance. When you are ignorant and you are whatever, it takes a lot of water. So we began to look at it and say that, look, we need to inform people about the existence of this particular disease in our children.
How was the acceptance been?
Well, it's getting on. Let me say it's encouraging.
Now you want to let us into the statistics of how many children are infected with cancer in Lagos State alone?
In Lagos State alone, we can't take, how do I put it in statistics now, a day figure. They refer children to the Lagos University Teaching Hospital because that's a center that is recognized for children cancer all over Nigeria. So they refer them there. Unfortunately, when they bring them there, some die. They take them away. I mean, some get the prerequisite treatment. They are discharged to go home and come further for. So there's no way you can say particularly to say these are the numbers of the people that are infected. They come in there. Most of the time, we don't even have the opportunity of meeting them in our visit. They say, okay, some people came, they have been discharged, they have gone. Some people came, they died. A child was referred from Port Harcourt that December month. The father called us because one of the nurses told the father to call us for assistance, and when he called us, we went there. And for about 3-4 days, we were managing the issue. But by the 5th of the 6th day, the child died and he left. But on an average, I think the first time that we were able to do a collation, we had about 25 of them in the oncology department of the hospital.
From which month to which month now? Well, which year are we looking at?
Last year. Last year. That's about May last year, if I can remember very well. May last year. Yes. About 25 of them. Out of which, unfortunately, almost about 13 of them are there. And we lost them. And this is because by the time they are getting to move, it is already advanced.
Now, how do we, when it comes to children, are you recommending routine checks for children too?
We would have to. That's why part of our
At what age?
recommendation, whatever age, we have children of 18 months who have been diagnosed with cancer in the hospital there. They're still there. 18 months, and if I can remember well, about 13 months that have been diagnosed, and they are there. And when you see what those people go through, you want to ask yourself, does it worth it to even bring any children into this world? Understand me? I mean, so it's so critical. And the plight of the parents too is so critical. Like she said, many of them still have to go to work, they're employed. And your employer will not say because your child has a cancer, stop coming. So they sleep under the bed, wake up by 4, 5 in the morning to go and bath in the public toilets there. From there they dress to go to the office. And they return back there in the afternoon.
Now, it has has been alleged in some quarters that junk food actually causes cancer. So I don't know if this is true. What advice do you have for parents if it's true that junk foods cause cancer?
Yeah. There are two sources that has been identified. The first one is what they call the genetical sources. That is, when a family is prone to cancer, there's a likelihood that everybody that is coming from that family is also prone. There's a higher propensity for cancer. The other one is the environmental factor. That means that it's not genetical, it's not hereditary. You are not picking it up from your father, you are not picking it up from your mother, but you are picking it up from the lifestyle. And we discovered, not us doing the research now, from Johns Hopkins University, that only 13% of the cancer patients are genetically prone. So the rest 87% are lifestyle. That means that the way you live brought you into it. And what do we mean by the way we live? What you eat, what you drink.
What are the things that eat that causes this cancer?
You mentioned them. These junk foods, processed food, chemically processed food. Those chemicals make those foods to be very, very good in the mouth. But like the Bible said, it said it is sweet in the mouth, but it's bitter in my stomach. That's exactly the picture. They are very sweet in the mouth, but when they get inside, they begin to affect the organs inside. And because of the economy today, we have parents that do not have time for their children. I have a neighbor until last year, when we started this, and I had to look for her to correct her. She takes her children in the morning, they leave the house, branch at Mr. Biggs to buy food for those children as their breakfast, buy another set for them to eat during the break time in the school. And when she goes back to pick them, because she's coming back to the house to drop them and go back to the office, there is no time to prepare amala, prepare eba, prepare pounded yam. So she buys another set for them. And so this goes on. And on Saturday, she texts me that, look, it's our outing day. So they take the children out, you understand me, for relaxation. And lunch will meet them outside. And so they go in there again. So we are talking about 6 days of the week now. And let me tell you one thing. This is a privileged information. I have a friend who was employed as a manager of one of those fast food hotels. And he was now sent to South Africa for training. And the man now discovered that in South Africa, the government is trying to outlaw, because of what they have discovered as the consequences of these things. They are trying to outlaw many of those outlets there. And the few ones that they are retaining is under strict censors, strict regulations on what you put in your food. Unfortunately, you agree with, we're all Nigerians. What censors do we have? What regulations do we have? As long as you have your money, you get registered, you register your PLC or whatever, and you go and do this thing. And nobody comes there to regulate. Even the regulatory bodies that we have, by the time they show up and the manager takes them behind the door and they have a very nice discussion, nothing is reported. At the detriment of those who patronize it. Now the question to ask is, where was cancer 10 years ago? Where was cancer 15 years ago when we were growing up? How do you find cancer?
No, it's not that. Before I let you go, some, when they have cancer, they will tell you it's spiritual, it's an attack.
Yeah.
And some will even apply anointing or say that it's good. What advice do you have for such people? I'm not saying, I believe in divine healing, but as much as people are not aware of these ailments, they call it attack, they give it various names. So at this stage, it can't be managed anymore. I don't know if you have an advice for them.
Yes, I still believe that, like you said, like you, I believe that there's divine healing. There's no doubt about that. We have seen a lot of it. But I don't think we should just leave it at that. Even Bible does not condemn medications. We have cases of King Hezekiah that was even sick himself. God said, I've healed you. He said, but get some lumps of some leaves, put it upon the boil, and it will go. I normally tell people that looks like cancer to me in the body of Hezekiah. And God said, get some herbs, put it there. Even when God said, you're already healed. So what we are saying is that there's a place for divine healing. I believe in it. But there's also a place for medical examinations. Even the lepers that Jesus Christ healed, he told them, go to the high priest and certify that you are healed. You understand? So there's always a place for prayer. There's a place for divine healing. But there's always a place for medication. And we should not, the two should go hand in hand. We shouldn't wait until the medication fades before we contact God. Because he created the body in the first place. He has remedies for whatever is wrong. Why don't we pick the two together? Pray, go to medical personnel, and see what they can do about it.
Very precise.
You must.